I've got just a few questions to put to you today. Why did you choose fashion?
So with fashion, I more saw it as like, I just enjoyed creating things. So I was always into like art. I explored more of like different medias, like creating graphics on the computer, or I guess designing things, or making things. So it's all about just using my hands and being busy with it. And then after foundation, I just felt like this was the right path for me that combined all the things I wanted to do.
How has your general understanding of fashion practice and the industry changed, if you feel it has?
When I was in school, I did an internship for the Sunday Times Style magazine. So I interned with a stylist who organised the fashion cupboard, and she was just like, this is just my life and that's just all I do. So I felt a bit intimidated in terms of like, oh, I want to have things outside of my life. But then when you really enjoy something, it becomes your life, and it's not a thing where you kind of think like, oh, I have no time to enjoy my friends, but most of my friends are involved in the same industry, so it just becomes natural. So I think when you enjoy it, like one of the things is if you enjoy it, then it's okay, like spending all your time doing one thing. I think that's what I've realised. Fashion does take a bit of life, but it's okay if I'm actually enjoying what I'm doing. I think fashion students are probably the most hardworking people I've actually met, because they like literally do not stop. They not let anything get in their way as well too, which I think is quite amazing, and something that people definitely like, oh, I could never do fashion because of how much work you have to put in for, I guess, sometimes a little gain.
And picking up on the industry itself, you've obviously gained quite an understanding of the industry and how it works, particularly because, you know, you've been so active in a number of things, like from competitions to collaborations. So would you say that your understanding of the industry now is anything different to what you might have expected early on?
I think it was just more like generally just listening to what people were saying and like picking up on it. Like, but it's general, like I think it's just general life skills, even out of fashion. Like, don't burn bridges. Like, I guess just be yourself as well, to make genuine connections. People can always tell when it's like you're forcing or trying to be fake or friends with people for the reasons that, because of that connection. So it's more like trying to make it as natural as possible and make it a win-win situation. So it's not always a one-sided friendship, but that's like, I think that's a general thing for like even outside of fashion that everyone has to, I guess, eventually learn.
More recently, you've completed a work entitled Personal Politics.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring things up to date. What were you exploring with that project?
I'll start with the title. So like I named it Personal Politics because when it comes to skin tone, mostly with black people, it's always politicised. I did a film with 5 of my friends, and like one of them was like really confident in the film to just like say how it is, and like you can notice that some of them are slightly uncomfortable with the questions because I was asking about their own masculinity. And like their experiences with it, so it was really interesting to see their reaction. So a lot of it's about like movement and like being vulnerable, but having the ability to kind of reveal yourself if you wanted to. And then like having the film was just extra evidence to kind of explain to people further, because it's easy to say like, oh, it's about black masculinity. People are like, but what do you mean? And you explain to someone that doesn't necessarily, I guess, have contacts with these kind of people, but then having that evidence as well. Well, I think what my work is about, just having, I guess, in a way, educating people or explaining in a way that both sides can understand.
Right. And that brought together lots of different disciplines.
Oh yeah, definitely did. Like, so Cream, who was in the film, he ended up becoming one of my models. So it was all about the guys that were in the film, and like, he was like basically one of the main like characters that I like based the collection on. So it's interesting like how he walked and like how he sort of like carried himself with, and then a different reaction to like Guido, who's like another one of my main models, and like the sort of dynamic of the two and the other guys was really interesting to see and observe in a way. I tried to stick to fabrics that, like, I think more so moving forward, like I did like a 2-look collection, it was really 2 looks, but I did one, and I showed the film, and then my shoes were like, the collection that I did with the initial collection was rubbish, but the film was really strong. Like, why are you not paying attention to what these guys actually wear, like the fabrics that they wear? So most of them wear like jerseys and like denim and like nylon. So like using those fabrics and then making it something else. And then like I use cashmere from like Johnson & Eldon, so like the idea of like elevating it, like referring back to Thomas J. Price's idea of like how he uses like a technique where it's quite similar to how Greek sculptures are sculpted, but he's sculpting black men, like those kind of things, like giving a sense of like opulence to it. So like those ideas I try to mix in. So then the colour palette just became a thing, like it was almost like, I guess, then I guess like unneeded in a way. So
fascinating anyway to learn a bit more about, you know, what drives you and a bit about, you know, why some of these, or how some of these collaborations come about and help define your work. So I just want to thank you again for coming in today to speak to students and speaking to me.
yeah,
Thank you, Bianca.
no worries, thank you.